If this is your first rim clamp machine, it's a good idea to become familiar with the different operations of the machine as far as what pedal operates what feature and what lever locks what device on the machine. And such as the foot pedals on the bottom, there's the rotation forward and lift up, is rotation in reverse. This is for the bead loosener shoe device.
Please note that the Coates Model 7060AX-EX features a handle-actuated bead loosener rather than the pedal-actuated bead loosener as demonstrated in this video.
Probably first, in covering the basics of tire service, I'd like to discuss exactly how a tire is removed from a single piece rim. I clamp the rim here, and if you'll notice, there's a drop center area of the rim, and there's also, this is where the bead seats are, and you'll notice that it's much closer to this edge than to this edge. This is identified as the short side, which is the side that the tire is always removed from. Defining the surfaces of the inside of the rim, this is what's defined as the drop center. You'll notice it's a smaller diameter than the bead seat. This is defined as the bead seat area on the top, and this would be defined as the bead seat area on the bottom. This is essentially the bead diameter of the tire. This would be the short side, or the takeoff side. This would be the long side. And not all wheels have the drop center near the decorative face. Some are what is defined as reverse mount. In those cases, you turn the decorative side down. Once again, we will demonstrate exactly why the bead must be in the drop center on the opposite side from the duck head before it can be removed. So I'll install and remove. I have here just a sidewall removed from a tire so that you can better understand exactly how this procedure works. I have the bead on top of the duck head in the back, under the head here, and if you'll notice, the bead is in this drop center area. And we will rotate okay, you'll notice it's installed. And the reverse operation is required for removal. We must allow this side of the bead to be in the drop center before we can pull the bead on top of the duck head. This is more or less a physical requirement that the tire be removed from the short side, and the bead must be in the drop center on one side before it can be pulled over the opposite side. Keeping the bead in the drop center opposite the duck head is a physical requirement because the bead itself will not stretch. And if it's not in the drop center, you will actually stall the machine down. And in some cases, this surface is on the back side of the wheel, which is called a reverse mount. And that's more typical with the large, newer imported type alloy wheels. Many of those, the face must be turned down. Once again, to demonstrate how the bead must be in the drop center opposite the tool head, we have this sidewall cut out. And if you notice, I'm going to push it into the drop center here, okay, which then allows me to lift the opposite side up over the duck head. Okay. The next part of getting started might be to always identify where the wheel and tire comes from on the vehicle. In other words, if this is the left front, it's a good idea to mark it here as well as on this surface here. And the reason for that is you could have a new pressure sensor device that's a valve system, or it could be a system like this. It's a strap-in device. And if you place a wheel and tire at the wrong axle on the vehicle, you're going to be required to reprogram the system. So either one of these could save quite a bit of time and possibly money. Additionally, in the getting started part, there's an operating instructions that you received with your machine that very carefully defines all the safety instructions, do's and don'ts, and what are hazardous, and also covers many of the features just as we've talked about. For instance, it explains the drop center and explains how the tire must be in the drop center to remove it. So this is a very good manual to read and to understand your machine. And also covers the maintenance and installation.